Wunderkammer is German for the Cabinet of Wonders. The idea was that the viewer would not just look at the object, but would look through the object. When we see the object, in this case animals, we can't help but ask ourselves, where did it come from? How did it live? And perhaps most importantly, why is it dead? How did it die? The reason I put this collection together is because I really wanted to use a medium that actually was the most authentic medium I could. And so initially I thought, how can I make these works look real? And went to a lot of, did a lot of research into faux fur and into creating, artificial animals which looked real. And then it struck me, this is stupid. If you really want to talk about the animal, use the animal. Use the actual real animal, be as authentic as possible. I've always been kind of interested in taxidermy as an artful and as a practice. Because taxidermy takes many forms, obviously hunting's the most common, but taxidermy of pets there's taxidermy for interior design, and in fact the zebra heads come courtesy of breeders which simply breed zebra for their skins. There's taxidermy that seeks to sort of moralise and sort of like and play games and anthropomorph the animal into human, giving it human qualities. So, and there's of course taxidermy, which is about the gathering of species and holding up as a museum piece. And there's taxidermy, which is not so much common now, but certainly in the 18th, 19th century was, we would call it gaff taxidermy, but they were passing these things off as mermaids or strange new animals by combining things together, kind of freaks of nature, if you like. And I haven't yet dressed any animals up. Not to say I won't, if it won't make a really important point, but I kind of try to avoid that. I know there are people working in taxidermy that are using jewellery and decorative elements to dress their work. There's other people that use costuming and other things, and I kind of want to keep the animal as naturalistic as possible and as complete as possible, unless the actual removal of a part of the body, i.e. the head as a trophy, or whether the body without the head makes some sort of point, and then it's relevant. For instance, in Serengeti, where the antelope are all headless, I asked the taxidermists in South Africa to mount the bodies after they'd actually taken their heads for trophies, because they make very pretty little trophies and they're quite popular in the interior design market. But I got thinking, well, what happens to the rest of the body? You know what I mean? Is it just discarded? And so it seemed to make a point, and then setting them up in a tableau which is reminiscent of the tableau that you would find in this case the Natural History, the American Natural History Museum in New York, also called Serengeti. It just seemed to make the point rather well. I haven't used a lot of Australian species, partly because of the problem of actually the government's made it so very difficult to show our own animals, you know what I mean? And the documentation is just, and the licensing and what have you is just really, makes it really problematic. However, I've used animals that I think are kind of metaphors anyways, the more traditional animals which, impart certain sort of notions of strength or rarity or sensitivity. You know, for instance, the lamb and the lion and the fox, and they've been used since Aesop's times, and to talk about not just animals but talk about the human condition too. So they're kind of metaphors and symbols for human foibles and human traits.